open the public hearing for ordinance to extend corporate limits, Johnson Farms parcel ID 17K08026. If anyone wishes to speak, please come forward. I will close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Move we extend the corporate limits to include Johnston Farms parcel ID 17K King 08026. Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Brown, seconded by Councilman McGowan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? At 6:37, I open the first forum. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward. Limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Please state your name and your address if anybody would wish to speak. I will close it.
I do have a question under the first open forum, the Q&A with the Division 4 engineer.
That'll be after that.
Okay, all right. Well, it was in the first open forum, so.
It'll be after. I will close the open forum at 6:38 PM. At this time, we will have a Q&A with the North Carolina Department of Transportation Division 4 Engineer Keith Eason and his staff.
Council, you should have somewhere in your area sheets that look like these are with you tonight. Each one has their own sheets, and then there's one map per table because it's as long as your table, if you don't mind sharing, please. And Ryan from North Carolina DOT will be talking with you tonight.
Good evening. How are y'all doing? So the large map that the lady had just mentioned, that's the public hearing map. I think you'll probably get the most benefit out of that. Yes, the color, the map with color and GIS printout. Those are plan sheets. I would look at the public hearing map for the most part. A little bit. Okay, so if everybody has the public hearing map in front of you, that gives the actual entire project limits from just east of Turnage Road back towards just west of Sadisco Road. And you can see different interchange, the two different interchanges that we're constructing under the project. You have the one at Swift Creek Road, and that's about midway on the public hearing map. And then you have Wilson's Mills, which is to the right. So as y'all are looking at that, I was just going to go over some project updates. Feel free to ask any questions or anything that you may have. So right now, the current schedule completion date has this, and this is for the entire project limits, September 15th, 2024. So we're a little over a year out from the entire project being completed. The closure of Swift Creek Road, which y'all very familiar with, is scheduled to be reopened for March 5th, 2024. That is originally a 365-day calendar closure, which allows us to do culvert work, bridge construction, bringing up the abutments for the bridge, and then focusing on the ramps and the loops. So any questions, I guess, so far about just the overall time for construction work, either entire project or at Swift Creek?
I do. What was the the original completion date of this project when the contract was signed?
That would be the September 15, 2024.
So they're still on track to complete this project by September 15th, 2024.
Yes, as it currently stands.
Okay, what's the penalty if they don't?
So if they don't finish by that completion date of September 15, 2024, Flatiron Constructors and any of their subcontractors are subject to $4,000 in liquidated damages per calendar day.
Okay,
So that's for that work. And then for the closure of Swift Creek, because they closed it March 7th, 2023 of this year. They have until March 5th of 2024 to reopen it to traffic. With that, what we call an intermediate completion time, they're subject to $1,500 in liquidated damages per calendar day.
so what makes that one any less important? Monetarily wise?
I don't know if I have the answer to that. That is usually set by the contracting office within the DOT. And I wasn't part of those conversations for those LD determinations.
Okay. And I just have a couple more questions and, for some reason, I'm thinking it was closed before March, before that date you give us. And I'll have to go back and make sure on my notes. But why did it break? Did it break because we're doing construction? If it does, we need to back that date. I mean, I would think we'd back that date up. I mean, if you dig a hole and you break a water main, then you got to close the road. But I mean, they closed the road and started that culvert thing. I mean, I drive by there every day.
Yeah, and you're correct. So there were at least one, maybe two water main breaks during the course of construction. So after the project was awarded to Flatiron, internally to DOT, the construction staff, myself, and a couple of my supervisors and we call him an area construction engineer. He's more of like helps facilitate different contracts across different divisions with the DOT. We actually, because we had some utility issues that were hindering the progress of the prime contractor, Flatiron. After the project was awarded, we actually did a separate intermediate contract time of 120 calendar days, which was just the closure of the southern portion of Swift Creek Road to help facilitate the work of that box culvert, because they had to actually relocate one of the water lines that they busted during the course of work. They had to build the new box culvert along with some jurisdictional stream diversion channels. And then they had to demo the existing, and then that would allow them to bring in the earthwork fill. So it was closed, I think, in October of last year. We had two scenarios that could have happened. Either Flatiron would have finished the box culvert work and then reopened the southern portion to traffic until they were ready for the full 365-day closure. Or once they got to the 120-day completion date, they would roll into the 365-day closure without actually reopening the southern portion. And while the southern portion was closed, we actually have the temporary traffic signal at Strickland Road. That's been activated the whole time because there's a detour. So the southern portion, you take Strickland Road up to 70 to the traffic light. And then if you're on the northern side, you'll take Wilson's Mills Road to Strickland to 70 there.
Well, and here's the reason I ask about that is because and I've only got one other thing that I really, but most of the things that I have questions about as far as question on timing, scheduling, it just looks like to me, excuse me. First of all, we started at Wilson's Mills Road. We shut that down. We went to Strickland Road, cut that off. And we finally have started back over here at Wilson's Mills Road. And I don't know what the holdup was. They went in there and put up the concrete and, you know, because all we know is what we see. But we shut that down, that intersection down for a while. We worked really hard on that service road going towards DOT where there's about 3 houses.
Mhm.
So we kind of forgot about Strickland Road. Now, here's where I'm coming from, sitting here.
Strickland or Swift Creek? I just want,
I'm talking, well, we stopped at Wilson's Mills.
Mhm.
And they started the bridge stuff and all that. We stopped with that. They completely stopped they drove the steel beams in and
Mhm.
started putting up the barrier stuff. Then that stopped. Then they moved to Strickland Road and all of a sudden we've cut that off.
Strickland is still.
I mean,
active,
I'm sorry, not Strickland.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Swift Creek.
Okay,
Swift
yep.
Creek.
Mhm.
Swift Creek. So here's my concern for what I think, and I'm just going to be honest and blunt, what I think was not very good planning. Randy may know more than I know, but I know of one incident where we had a incident at Strickland and Swift Creek. Now, if we have another incident there and Swift Creek Road is blocked, how is all those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the area in which I live gonna get fire, EMS, or police protection when those roads are blocked? There's not a second alternative. Because, and here's what really frustrates me. We worked really hard on that service road to go to DOT, man, lines are painted. And we've not done squat to this one to get this open for a secondary road for all these hundreds of people that live in that area. And you can go right now and look, the tire prints are still there where the truck run off the road and block the road. So what, I guess as a town councilman, I want to know not really who's responsible. Because I'm not sure that you're prepared to give me that answer, but I would like to know who's liable. If that road gets blocked and there's not a secondary way to get to all these hundreds of people in the event of a house fire, a heart attack, somebody breaking in, who's liable for not being able, our emergency personnel not being able to respond because we haven't finished this road, which would go straight out of the Swift Creek. And you could turn around and go to Swift Creek. So I would like to know for the town, who would be liable in that situation.
So if you had a accident at Swift Creek, is that what the question is? On 70 and.
No, Swift Creek Road and Strickland. It's where it comes in
Mhm.
and tees.
Okay.
And that's right. And that's not and I didn't even know about that one today. How about the landscapers that have to swing out in oncoming traffic to turn right on the Swift Creek to come back out to 7? I mean, that's probably what happened. That I know one of the trucks run off in the ditch because it wasn't really well thought about trucks turning there and it being a detour route with all the traffic.
Mhm.
But it really concerns me as a town councilman that our town folks, if Swift Creek and Strickland are blocked, that fire truck can't get there, that police car can't get there, or that EMS unit can't get there.
Mhm.
That really concerns me that we didn't think about that for all the hundreds and I don't know how many hundreds of people are in that one area.
Mhm.
But I would like to know who would be liable. If somebody couldn't get an ambulance to them, I would like to know that.
Yep. So if we're talking about the southern portion, I know exactly what you're talking about. As far as the liability goes, I mean, I might have to defer to others. I would say, the individual, the company, the group that accident, whoever caused that accident, that would be the liability. I think I did just recently hear about a week or two ago, and hopefully I'm not over speaking too much, but I think we were looking at putting in a turn lane of some sorts at that side. That might be a question for like Sam that we can follow up on at a later date. Yeah, but that's driven by some of the development that's going on along Strickland Road, that end of the project. So to, I guess, go back to, some of your other question, detour routes they're put together by licensed engineers as part of our traffic management plans. So I guess some of the liability could be, on that engineer of record, because they're tasked with reviewing the local routes, different things like that, to make sure that our detour routes are suitable and can accommodate different things.
I don't mean, I mean, I don't mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot because I understand, but you guys, however many of you are here, you are representing the state to us, the town, and I'm telling you, I have gotten phone calls and texts, especially about the turning at Swift Creek Road and Strickland Road. Now, the couple other things that I have issues with, and the other stuff is convenience. And we have to be inconvenient to get road construction. We all know that. But what we're talking about right now is a life safety issue to me.
Yeah, let me add one thing on that if I can, Commissioner. Can't completely answer the liability question. I mean, that's always muddy waters in situations like that. But the one thing I can say is we have quick clearance crews that are on call. And if we are notified of situations like that, we can try to, bring additional folks in or whatever we can do to help get those things cleared. If an accident happens at that intersection again, and any one of you guys can, or the town can contact us, then we can aid in trying to make that happen quicker. Of course, law enforcement is heavily involved in that, and we can, they can make decisions to let's get it moved enough so that if there's emergencies, we can get by or those kind of things. But we'd be glad to get involved in that and be a part of that process if we need to.
Here, my question, gentlemen, is I think that should have been looked at from the very beginning. Anytime we approve as a council, new developments and those sorts of things, each and every one has got to have, if I'm not mistaken, for fire and police, has got to have 2 entrances, 2 exits, 2 ways to get in and out for fire and police protection. Those folks over there, they comprise several different developments over there. They've got 1 way in and 1 way out. So I think that should have been addressed in the very beginning. And on your point of, if something happens, give us a call. That fire truck ain't going to wait. That fire truck can't wait. That police officer just can't wait for your quick reaction force to show up in 30 minutes. They got to get in there right now. So I think something needs to be done now to address that. It's going to, for the next year. I've never really thought about it, but now that he brought it up, I go through that intersection only once a week, but I look at it now and go, there's only 1 way in, 1 way out. We don't approve developments that have 1 way in and 1 way out. Am I correct, Randy? So I think that needs to be addressed now, sir, somehow, some way.
Yep. Let Ryan speak to that.
So, excuse me, which service road are you referring? In Swift Creek? To my knowledge, the only thing that we lack are the 2 tie-ins, right there at Swift Creek and at Strickland Road. That's definitely something that I can go back to Flatiron Constructors and get a little bit more information, talk with them, express the importance of it. I can't commit to any date at the moment, but I can definitely have conversations with them to see what needs to be done. Mm-hmm.
I think that from a business point of view, and I've had to ask you this simply because I'm a town councilor and there's 1 way in and 1 way out. And sometimes when there's accidents there is no way in and no way out. So I would take whatever powers or means that you, your supervisors, legislative, whatever it needs to be done. I would, from my point of view, and I'm just one on this council, would highly encourage Flatiron to go ahead and finish that service road and get two ways in and two ways out.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing, house fire. If they can't get there, if our fire department can't get there, no fire department can get there. There's no way to get any help at all. So I would not just ask them. I would highly encourage them from the state's point of view and coming from the local governing board here, that it's a high concern of mine. I
Mhm.
can't speak for the whole, but of mine. Because who knows when the next truck's gonna go in the ditch or the next accident's gonna be there.
Mhm.
Won't be long. But I'm gonna kind of get off of that soapbox unless somebody else. I do have a couple more questions.
He's gonna take a break for a second.
Okay, yep.
We're both gonna talk about the same general area, and that is Wilson's Mills Road and the crossover that he was referring to.
Mhm.
I don't have the data here in front of me, but every month we get reports of accidents and what happens in the town, just straight numbers. And I look at these accidents and I go, wow, that's pretty high. And I always question the chief or the sergeant, whoever is there. And almost 95% of those accidents, be they fender benders or more serious accidents with personal injury or even death, occur right there in the construction sites. And without, I can ask them, but I'm sure the majority of them are right there. They're Wilson's Mills Road and 70.
Mhm.
And a lot of it, I think personally stems, and I haven't even spoken with them about it, stems from whatever traffic on 70 is approaching that intersection, that each one of them are coming over a hill. And the only thing that they have that I could see that alerts them to the fact that the traffic light is turning is way back is a little yellow flashing light that said traffic light ahead. There's nothing else to indicate, hey, slow it down. You come screaming over top of that hill, and if that traffic is backed up to it, just out of line of sight of that driver,
Mhm.
he's going to go right into it.
Mhm.
Trucks, what have you. So I'm always concerned about that, and I'm wondering, I know you can't change the highway, obviously, but is there some way you can put something of a more graphic warning up there? I've seen going down 95, for example, you go down towards Fayetteville and it's Benson or Dunn, and they have those, the fake blue lights, if you will.
Okay,
I'll
yep.
tell you, that gets the attention real quick. I go down there once or twice a month, but I see those blue lights and I always keep it below because I can't afford tickets in this state.
Mhm.
But I always slow down anyway when I see those blue lights and little flashing yellow light says, hey, there's a traffic light up ahead. Doesn't mean squat to a lot of these folks. And I think are we seeing a lot of accidents right there? Okay, there you go. And it could save a life. It could save, a vehicle or what have you.
Mhm.
So I wonder if there's some way we could look at that on both sides coming in from Selma and coming in from the Garnet, Clayton side. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. We can look at that intersection as well as the Strickland Road. Because anytime we have traffic signals, those are going to be our area of most conflict, potential for
And
accidents
we
or
do
having
have,
accidents.
Flatiron does have one of our officers out there, but it's one officer with one blue light going.
Mhm.
And we've got, 4 different places now. So
Mhm.
if
Yep.
there's some way that we could work it out, I'll leave it to you, but thank you.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it, have conversations with another
Yeah.
unit. We have our own traffic signal department, traffic services unit that will
It
assist.
just
me with
doesn't give
what-
them much time coming over that hill if that traffic is backed up. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Okay.
The other couple of things, and I want to say thank you for coming in and answering and
Yeah,
and letting
absolutely.
us voice this, because a lot of times, I felt like that we hadn't had communication with all the growth that we have in the county. I mean, in the town, that we just hadn't had any knowledge, unless it's secondhand. But I would like to, the stoplight at Wilson's Mills Road and 7, well, there's 2.
Mhm.
I timed it multiple days, 4 seconds. 3 cars.
Mhm.
And it backs up all the way to Main Street. You know, I'm not a traffic engineer by any means. But those 3 cars go across 70. And somebody better not be on their phone or it'll be 2. So we're gonna say everybody's having a good day, paying attention. 3 cars get through.
Mhm.
They get to the stoplight to go, like you're going under the bridge, the stoplight to go straight to Smithfield or turn left to go to Selma. And it's red. I wonder this, and I've been asked this multiple times, is there's not a way to time those things where you get about, you know, I know you can't stop 70, you know, indefinitely,
Right.
but it just seems like to me 4 seconds is just a bit shy of enough. So if we could time them things where you can get some cars through there, get them on out of town, get them on the 4 lane, but they can be green and green going through and go ahead and turn or go straight or whatever. It just doesn't seem like to me the signaling person has signaled them. But there again, I'm not a signal person and I don't know the ins and outs of that. But I would just ask if you could check into that, that would be awesome. And then you have people coming out of the store. Their signs up. I don't know if Flatiron done it or who done it. Don't block the driveway.
Mhm.
Well, if you don't block the driveway and you let 3 people out, you're 4 light cycles away from getting through there.
Yeah.
So, you know, just that would really help the traffic congestion backing up. And it may even help some on the accident and accident potential at those lights as well. And my only other thing is at Strickland Road. And 70. It seems like, it's just bumpy going through there. And by the time you can go through there and like me, if I'm pulling a trailer, about 4 cars is always gonna go through there because it's like a washboard where they put layer and then drop down and put a layer of asphalt. I mean, I would just ask Flatiron if they can do anything to smooth that out, get that traffic on through there so it doesn't start backing up on Strickland on both sides of 7.
Mhm.
It's just so rough that people won't go through there that fast with their cars
Uh-huh.
and me will like with a trailer, but.
Yeah.
But those things that I mentioned are more convenience. But I'm gonna circle back and not say anything else, but the second way to get in and out is priority.
Right.
For me, as far as the residents of this town in that area.
Mhm.
So, but I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming. I know you're just a messenger, but thank you for coming and thank you for taking back our
I'm a
concerns.
little bit more than just a messenger. I live and breathing it each day with the contractor. So, you know, I really am, I guess, like the first person that, you know, y'all or somebody would, you know, interact with as far as the project's concerned. So, no, I don't mind helping. So just to recap, you know, you had the light at Wilson's Mills, the timing of it. You had the flashing beacons, the preemption, wanted us to look at that. And then as you're going across 70 on Strickland, the transition from Strickland to 70 gives you a little bit of problems at that time. Okay.
That's the one thing, because I know when I'm coming back from eating down at this place in Selma, when you come back and cross the hill there at 4301, that they give you a signal that up there that it's going to turn green, it's going to turn red.
Mhm.
That's something, what he's saying, that's something we need, desperately need. And the 4 seconds is just crazy. I mean, it really is. And then when you cross there, it doesn't seem like they're synchronized together so that it just throws away a lot of things. And I totally agree with Tim on that. I mean, you know, you can get back there if you come down there near that thing around 4:45 to 5:30,
Mhm.
you're looking at 6 to 7 light cycles.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time. And like he says, you don't want to be a bad person and not letting somebody out. But if you let 2 cards out, you've added another cycle to your to the system, you know, it's just.
You've added a lot more than that because The Handy Mart, as you know, is also a truck stop, and you get a couple of semis in there.
Mhm.
There goes your.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so those two signals, they do not talk with each other. They are cycling independently, with 70 traffic being the main thoroughfare through there. So,
Ryan, I just thought about one other thing and I would just, and I know you don't have any answers and I don't expect anything, but just to throw it out there. And we have thrown it out there a little bit here. Interchanges at the service road between Swift Creek and Strickland.
Mhm.
What are those interchanges gonna look like? When that service road comes to Strickland or to Swift Creek, what?
Yep.
So it's just stop signs and,
If you have the public hearing map in front of you, so if you're looking at Swift Creek, you'll see the two loops. So if let's say you're heading in the eastbound direction, you
Mhm.
have the eastbound off ramp.
Mhm.
And then you have the eastbound on ramp.
Mhm.
The yellow line that you see to the south of 70 towards the bottom of the page, that furthest yellow line, that's where the service road will tie into Swift Creek. That'll be a stop condition.
so you're thinking a stop sign? I
Yes.
mean, how difficult is it to look at doing roundabouts at those two intersections? To keep traffic moving? Because, and the reason, and obviously I have a reason for asking between all the open land that you see between Strickland and Swift Creek,
Mhm.
rather than being behind the eight ball on development. Is there any way that we could ask for a study on doing roundabouts at those two locations?
I'll talk with Keith
Okay.
afterwards. That would get way out of the scope of the current contract. We would definitely have to have some conversations about a study or, anything further than that.
Yeah, and the reason I ask now is because when it was originally proposed, we didn't realize, just on, Wendy can probably, I mean, how many houses are going on Strickland alone as of right now?
Right at 1,000, but we've already had a conversation regarding the rail south.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so if y'all want anything else as far as update, I'm prepared. If not, I'll go sit down. I'll leave it up to y'all.
Thank you. We were looking forward to this and you've done well. Thank you.
Okay.
The only thing I have
Yes.
is there going to be pedestrian crossing over Swift Creek Bridge?
There is. We actually looked at that last week. The plans show sidewalk, 5-foot sidewalk on the western side to be constructed by others, but we're going to look into that a little bit more and see what possibly can be done to add it under the project. But we just had those conversations last week, so we're still working through some things at the moment.
Any updates or anything, I would invite you to come back and share with us, any delays or Lord blesses us with quickness in
Yep.
construction.
Yeah.
Anything that you feel like that we as a council would
Mhm.
benefit from.
Yeah, I mean, I would not have a problem with that because what I'm hearing or what I feel like I'm hearing from y'all is, you haven't had a whole lot of information at times. You've gotten a lot of feedback from your constituents, different things like that. So I'd be glad to, periodically provide updates as needed. You're welcome.
All y'all that have come, we appreciate you coming and answering our questions. At this time, we'll go into our regular meeting session. And since Mayor Byrd is not here, it does say we'll have a discussion of consent agenda by the attorney, so I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mayor. So this topic has come up in informal conversations between myself and Leanna. I mentioned it and she said, she had thought about it in the past as well. Don't know how well it'll be received by council, but I for one think it's a good addition to your council workflow. So what it is in a nutshell is if you have a consent agenda, it's just a section at the top of your agenda where you can put routine matters that do not merit extensive discussion. And ordinarily, town staff is the one who sort of decides what is likely something that is routine and doesn't merit much discussion. And so it'll sort of be filled out. Of course, you guys can have input on that. If you're aware of something that needs to go on the agenda, you can request it be on the consent agenda or not be on the consent agenda. But just because something's on the consent agenda, or let me just talk a little bit more about how that works. So then you could have a grouping of action items under your consent agenda. For example, your approval of the minutes and the financial reports, things of that nature, which are clearly very routine. And then you might have other non-controversial issues like maybe a resolution to dispose of surplus property or something like that. And then, so you vote on everything at once. So you could look at the consent agenda and just make a motion to approve the consent agenda items, and then one single vote clears everything on that consent agenda. Now, if you have an issue with something or question about something, or for example, the minutes, you want to suggest an amendment to the minutes, and so therefore don't want to approve them all at once, you can, when you get to that point on the agenda, you could, or when you get to the approval agenda of the agenda section, you could say, hey, I'd like to remove item C, if you will, from under the consent agenda because I'd like to discuss that more fully. Then that comes out and is then treated as a regular item under the agenda that you discuss and vote on separately. So it's just sort of a way to address a number of things that don't merit discussion in a quick fashion, and but doesn't limit discussion if you desire, because you can simply have it pulled from the consent agenda.
Are things like just two things that came to the top of my mind, the police report and Patrick's report, where they come up and say, you've got the report, are there any questions? And sometimes we don't have questions. And that's consent agenda type thing we can just push through.
Sort of, that's a little bit less what you would put on a consent agenda, in that it doesn't really require council action. It's just
Right.
it's just a spot for a report. If you wanted to put it under consent agenda, that's fine, but it's not something that actually requires any action by the council. It's really for your benefit.
Yeah, I think those things could easily come under the consent agenda, especially Patrick's report. The police report, typically we have a question or two, and then we'd have to go through the part about, extracting that from the consent agenda, but there are some things that can certainly go in there, and I'm for it if it, moves things along. And we still have.
Example of something on a consent agenda. The minutes, I think is the clearest one. Being a smaller town, you don't have as many things that are just routine. You do take more of a stake in things and want to discuss things, but just looking at the one today, I mean, again, just the minutes here, you can't have a consent agenda for public hearings and things like that you have to consider, or rezone where you have to have discussion and consideration. But otherwise, you could have this TJ-Cog charter amendment, this resolution could be on a consent agenda. The bid award, you would not want on there. But those are things that town staff, again, like I said, could look it over and say, this probably merits placement on the consent agenda. And if you don't like it there, then you simply take it off.
I'm for it for one.
Okay. I'm for it too.
And I don't think you have to take action on that. That's just direction to town staff and say, next time you'll have a consent agenda. Might not have anything on it, but other than the minutes, but it at least streamlines the process.
All right, we'll move to the town administrator report, and I believe Miss Sherry is going to be taking care of that tonight.
Good evening, commissioners and Mayor Pro Tem. The first action that Leanna wanted to take is the resolution for TJ Cog. As you remember, they came in a couple of months ago and showed us their rebranding and their new name. And this is a resolution that they would like all their municipalities to approve. Because they're gonna move forward. Emily, isn't that or in September? Yes, it's gonna be in September, whenever they officially are renamed.
Do we have any discussion or do I have a motion?
I think we've gone through most of this when they were here, so
Mhm.
if you have no objection, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution ratifying, accepting, and approving the amended charter resolution of Central Pines Regional Council, parentheses, formerly Triangle J Council of Governments.
I have a motion to accept, to adopt the resolution made by Councilman McGowan, seconded by Councilman Brown. Couldn't think. Councilman Brown. All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Okay, secondly, she has on her, to award a bid for the town hall, new town hall cameras and the keyless entry. I think she sent you out an extensive email explaining this prior to the meeting. And as to the reason why it would not be like suitable for us to follow up with another company. And so this is to award the camera and keyless entry bid to Building Automation Services.
I read all that stuff about that. Personally, I think we need to go with the company we have right now. But
Yeah.
everybody else has their opinion. So if you have an opinion, please state it so we can,
I read it too in detail when she sent it out via email and I think we just asked her to go ahead and get this information to us simply so we could tell the townsfolk that we looked at different options. And we pretty much knew the answer to this before we even started. So with that in mind, I'll make a motion that we award the bid for security cameras and keyless entry turnkey at the new town hall campus buildings, and we remain with our current company, Building Automation Services, BAS.
Councilmember McGowan, just to be clear, and this was communicated in that email. But just to be technically accurate, it was my suggestion that the bid from the other company, I can't recall the name now, was non-responsive, and that's what you're able to go with BAS instead.
All right, how do you want me to word that, Councilman?
Just say, right, so moved works.
Yeah, so moved what he said.
so I have a motion. And a motion by Councilman McGowan, a second by Councilman Jernigan to approve the contract with the company. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Ms. Sherry?
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda is to award a bid to the comprehensive utility plan. And we have a gentleman here, his name is Tyrus, and he's going to speak in reference to that.
Name's Tyrus Clayton. I'm with TRC Engineers out of Cary, North Carolina. I believe y'all have our packet in front of you. We are an engineering firm with quite a network of local clients here. We've done quite a bit of work within Johnson County. Me personally, I'm the principal of our office and have helped a lot of the small towns of this community with their utility needs and infrastructure needs over the last 25, 30 years. So we showed some interest in coming to help and assist the town with looking at their proposed utilities departments, and I think we can definitely help you go through that process of making some good decisions for the growth and future expansion of the town of Wilson's Mills. I also have with me tonight Miss Marla Ashworth. She was a 25+ year employee for the town of Princeton down the road from you guys. She is now our community resource specialist. She's been through this activity with the town of Princeton previously with their public works department, and does quite a bit of financial assistance with other towns in our area. So we're here to answer any questions you may have, and would love to be able to work for the town.
Anybody got questions?
No, I really don't have any questions, but I went through these, actually this afternoon. That way I could remember a lot of this stuff that I just forgot. But I did look at it, and I do like your services, as opposed to the others, mainly because of the, your knowledge of Johnston County, the rules, regulations that we all have to deal with and that you're gonna have to deal with, and having, worked with all the, surrounding municipalities. So that's where my vote goes.
Yeah, I was impressed with the municipalities you've worked with here in Johnson County, plus some that I knew that I read about you working with in some, in the other areas. So I'm like Mr. McGowan, I'm in favor. So anybody else got any comment?
Go ahead and ask that question.
I thought I'd seen it where's the total cost in this?
Point, this is an RFQ. You solicit qualifications first.
Okay, wait a minute. And that's, okay, that's what okay, never mind. I see where I was looking at figures now. Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Okay. What's the name of the company?
I would make the motion to proceed with the comprehensive utilities plan with TRC.
Do I have a second?
Excuse me, before we finish out this motion, there is another company representing itself. His name is Brian Johnson. I'm sorry, Brian, but I don't know the name of your company. If you would like to speak on behalf.
I'll withdraw my motion. I would love to hear.
Sorry about that, sir.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
I didn't
you were here
realize
for
it
the- I
either.
mean, I'm sorry. But absolutely, we want you to.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. My name is Brian Johnson with the Wooten Company.
Mhm.
We're quite familiar with the town. We've been working with the town about 25 years. Been doing a lot of study for the town on the sewer system. We've started back in 2000 with a study of how to lay out the town sewer system. And trying to get the appropriate funding and whatnot took a while, but then in about 2009, we worked with the town on the capital improvement update, which included a sewer master plan. And then over the course of the next few years, we were able to assist the town in getting funding for the sewer system that's been installed in the town basically from about 2013 to 2018. And so we've got a quite extensive knowledge on the town sewer system. We're located in Raleigh. And I've been the point of contact for the past 15 years with the town, and have been working with the Wooten Company for the past 23 years. So obviously, we would certainly love to continue our relationship with you guys. We've got a lot of extensive experience. Our main focus is local government engineering. And like others, we've certainly got a lot of experience in Johnston County, working with Smithfield and Clayton and Benson and Four Oaks and others in this county. But anyway, certainly love to continue our partnership and be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
I did see on the, in your part of our packet, where you were part of some of the original, which was before my time, the original sewer. Yeah, I don't know if we call it infrastructure or what we may have. And I saw it in here. It said, I think, I can't see it now. I don't have my glasses, but I think it was like 5,000 foot of sewer, I believe it was, that you guys helped the town get into. 37,000. Oh, okay. No.
Yeah, there were.
7,000 foot of gravity fed and 4,000 foot of force fed.
That's right. Yeah, there were two separate projects. There was a community development block grant project that provided CDBG, that's right, that provided the initial smaller project, and then USDA came in and provided the larger project there, which was 37,000 feet, I believe.
So it's my understanding, either one is going to provide us with the study that we've been talking about for I don't know how many years. I mean,
I'm the longest running council member on this panel, and we've been talking about getting this sewer finished since I've started, so. I'm ready to see.
I don't think we have a choice but to do it. Here's where I feel right now. I think I made the motion, and I do apologize for that. So I withdrew my motion, so I'm going to leave it up to those that are on here to put a motion forward on whatever you guys think. Randy, you're longstanding here.
I've looked at both companies thoroughly, and I believe both of them can do the job with no questions asked. We have worked with Brian before, and they are literally tit for tat for everything. Brian knows our infrastructure already, and he knows where we're going, because he's been with us the whole time. And I would like to make a motion, we stick with the Wooten Company for this project.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Personally, after I listened to both presentations, I would personally like to delay our decision till next month so I can look at it a little bit more. That's just my opinion. I think both companies are very, very good companies, but I
Excuse me,
didn't
counsel.
understand both of them. I mean, I went through the stuff, but I didn't understand that both of them are such good companies. I would love to delay this decision until next month. That's just my opinion now.
Okay, I just was informed that Star had worked with Leanna on this RFQ, and she has some information that she may want to share with you in reference to this. Since
Okay.
Leanna is not here. So, mhm.
Everyone. I just had to share with you, me and Lana spoke early last week before, everything happened and she's not here and I wasn't here. That we personally, after, going through the RFQs and talking them out and meeting both with, Mr. Johnson and also with TRC Engineering, in person and everything, that what both companies can both provide the services that we need. We were leaning more towards TRC Engineering, as is stated in our booklet that you guys got. Simply for the fact that we believe that with the upcoming projects that the town will need as we grow and develop, Johnson County is developing very rapidly, that they can offer us, especially Marla with her assistance with the funding and grants for this issue. And also with our development of a utilities department is something that that we believe that TRC has a foot forward in that direction in helping us as a small town that has no experience with that, to develop that department and get it up and running a lot, quicker with their help. So that was our small push towards them.
Yeah, when I was talking earlier, I still stand by what I said. And now that you've given me the expertise of you and Leanne and all the work that you've done, I still stand by that. And that is with TRC.
I'll retract my motion. And I'll make a motion that we table it until our next meeting. That way everybody can get under a general consensus.
I would agree to that in all fairness to the gentleman from Wooten Corporation. I really would like us to be able to discuss it with the folks that are not here tonight. And make sure, because it's going to be a long-term
Commitment.
endeavor, so we want to make sure everybody's on board with this so, it's up to you guys. I just hate that I didn't know that we had a representative here before I made that motion to kind of.
Is that a logistical problem for either one of the two companies? One more month, come back here? Is that okay with you all? Yeah.
Okay, I think we've got a consensus that we,
If it's a motion, yeah.
I'll second it. It's not already seconded.
we got a motion made by Councilman Jernigan, seconded by Councilman McGowan to table this until the next meeting so that we can give everybody a better chance to study what both companies are offering and also to let those who are not here be involved in it. So anybody got any more discussion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. So we will table this until next meeting. And thank both of you all for coming.
Thank you.
And we look forward to making our decision, and we'll do a lot of studying on that this month. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Okay, next on the agenda, Mayor Pro Tem, is my financial statement for May of 2023. Does the council have any questions?
Everybody's looking at me. I had one and I crossed it out, so I don't have it.
That's awesome.
Man.
Okay, the next on the agenda is an ordinance to amend the budget, and this is budget amendment number 3. And the final one for the fiscal year.
Okay, any discussion?
Make a motion, we approve the budget amendment number 3 for the town of Wilson's Mills.
I got a motion to accept to amend the budget for the fiscal year number 3. And I had a second, all in favor? All opposed?
Okay. Next on the agenda is the contract to audit. The auditor has got his contract within your package there, and that's to audit this fiscal year 22-23.
Did we use them last time?
We did. We've used them for the past.
And they're very, very good, right?
They are very good.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or do I have a motion?
I have a real quick question, and I think they're using this as an example, but it stood out and I was trying to. You too? Okay. Page 3. Just before the last paragraph, there's a statement there. It says we've identified the following significant risks of material misstatement on the part of our audit planning, and then it's lack of segregation of duties in regard to internal controls over financial reporting. Is that an example they're citing, or is that something that affects us that they found?
No, they have not found anything since
So
they,
what am I
this is
help.
just, this is what they try to do, to find something that has been done wrong.
so this is just an example of
Yes.
how they would word it if they found something.
Right,
along
exactly.
those lines? Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Oh, and, Attorney Dusablon. I would, can we recommend to council going forward, if we keep this same auditor, like for years to come, can we just not bring the contract to them for them to have to make a motion on?
I believe that's fine. Yes.
Okay.
It's a
that-
contract for services.
If that's the case, I remember reading or hearing from someone somewhere that it's not a wise move on the part of a municipality to use the same auditors for a period of years, that you should switch every 3 or 4 years.
But if we have one as good as we got,
Well, I understand that, but it's the appearance. We use the same auditor all the time, and you can develop a real close relationship with an auditor over a period of years like that. And in fact, if they find something, no matter how minor, they might go, they're a friend of mine, and I'll overlook. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
It can happen.
I understand.
So I have read and I understood that other municipalities don't keep the same auditor for a number of years. They'll do it for like 3, 4, maybe 5, and then they'll put it out for bid again and see what happens.
Okay.
So I'm just using that as something that we need to look forward to down the line.
Okay.
Okay.
If you did want to, I think you could engage them. And, say that this is approving this contract and then engaging them as your auditor. And then as contracts come up, they can be executed by your staff. Only thing is the dollar amount does exceed the. Yeah.
Is there a way that we can give Leanna that, give her a one-time, one item authority to exceed the 5,000?
I think you could just be specific that you're engaging this auditor year on a recurring basis, and that Leanna has the authority to execute the contracts. Subject to governing board. Future governing boards could decide to change course on that. So it doesn't
if-
bind you in any way.
I think what basically you're saying is we give them the power to keep this audit company as long as they, but we have the right, if we want to, some year down the line, ask for them to bring something to bring it up again, if we want to make it
Well,
something.
what if, and I don't even know if this is the place to do it, but I personally would like to have something every year when it's audit time, just to say, hey, we approved the same one, and the cost is 12,000 this year, just so we can keep an eye on the cost,
Could do that.
you know?
Yeah, I don't think it's a,
We don't have to have this 20-page contract and everything else thrown back at us again, but just something that says Leanna reports and says audit this year is gonna run 12.5.
sure.
And that way we keep an eye on it, that's all.
Okay.
That's what we have to do, is keep an eye on as much.
Or it
as
might go in
possible.
your consent agenda,
Pardon me?
or it might go in your consent agenda.
Yeah, put it on consent agenda.
Mhm.
That way we see it, we don't have to talk about it.
Sure.
Unless it's raising an eyebrow, okay?
There you go.
Fair enough.
All right, now we need a motion.
I forgot how to word it. Well, we have.
No, you've already.
We
got
have
consent
to, we have
agenda.
to
We
approve
have to
the
approve
audit
this
this
one.
year.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve the the 22-23 audit contract for the town of Wilson's Mills as stated in our packet. And further that in years to come, that we are notified only of the amount, and we give the town administrator the authority to approve it through the consent agenda. Is that right?
Not really. I
Not
would just
really.
leave that part off. That's town staff
Kind of
can,
wordy, isn't it?
it can take that direction.
Yeah, but that's me, isn't it? Kind of wordy.
I think
All
you
right.
can just make your motion be to approve the contract with Sharp and Patel for 20.
Sharman, no, okay, make a motion,
2023.
we approve the contract with Sharman Patel.
I got a motion to approve the contract. A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Miss Wendy.
Before I get started with the planning and zoning, I was asked to relay a message to you from Leanna. She said that she thought you guys made a good call to table that because the scoring was so close between those two companies. And she would like to have the opportunity to explain in her words where the decision she felt like lied. So she said, good job, council, on that. You have my staff report in front of you. Not very much has changed on this. When you're looking at the violations and permits, keep in mind, we were closed for 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks between packing up, moving, unpacking, trying to get back into the swing of things at a new place. And please keep in mind that we're still working without office phones. So we're still working with cell phones right now. So for the month of June, those numbers should definitely be higher. Not a lot has changed with our subdivisions. We have started issuing permits for Olive Branch for them to start building houses. Our zoning permits have been approved. They've submitted for building to the county. Wilson's Walk is working on their bond, and as soon as we have that finished, we'll be able to do their final plat, so they'll be able to start submitting permits as well. I got a call today regarding Cobalt Towns. Cobalt Towns is currently on the market. There's a new developer looking at that one. That's the All Townhome community over in between Olive Branch and East Hampton on 70 Business. Naturally, the one thing holding the whole deal up is the ugly S word, sewer. Yeah. So we're trying to work through all of that to get them where they can get going. Nothing else really to discuss on it unless y'all have questions.
Cottages, your punch list that you. say-
Okay, they have yet to respond to my punch list, and I sent another email out Friday requesting the status of where they were with that, because if they think we've forgotten it, they're wrong.
Yeah, there's a couple of items I want to know if they are in fact on your punch list. I hope they are. And number one would be the gates around the retention ponds.
That's on there.
Okay, with the keys for the fire department and police department.
They have to put Knox locks on them. That way we don't have to keep up with physical
Okay.
keys.
The erosion coming off that one house on the corner that's going all the way down the road all the time.
Which corner?
Well, I don't know how to describe it. If you go in off of Sutherland and make a left.
Go in on Montrose, their
Yeah.
entry road.
Yeah, and make a left, and as
Uh-huh.
you make a quick right as it bends, that house right there in the corner. It sits up there and they didn't do anything with respect to seeding, sodding, straw or whatever. So that erosion is coming off the side of that house. It's covered the sidewalk for about 25 yards. And it's going into the road, and I know darn well it's going to go into the sewer system sooner or later if it hasn't already. The silt and all of that.
That'll go into their stormwater system,
Yeah.
which means they'll have to blow all of that
Yeah,
out. They'll
but
have
I'm-
to wash all that out before we'll accept it.
But I understand that, but my question is, it's going to happen again, and it's going to be our storm sewer system at that point, stormwater system.
You said it's to the left off of Montrose?
Yeah, you come in and you make your first left. And then you go maybe 2 house lengths and the road turns to the right. It bends around. It's that house on your right-hand side on the corner. It's-
On the right-hand
Yeah,
side.
yeah, right there on the inside of that turn. It sits up there and all of that erosion, when it rains, comes right down to the sidewalk and the street and right into the sewer. No, that cemetery's on the other side. No, you gotta go in and make a left and follow it around. The other-
I'll check
okay,
into
if
that.
You would please. The other thing would be the 6-foot privacy fence they said they wanted to do. Where's that going?
That's not been installed yet?
No, ma'am, nothing. It's supposed to come all the way down the back. And initially, if you recall, the layout showed that they were going to put a vegetative barrier in there, which was worthless, but nevertheless, it was going to be there. And they decided to change that to a 6-foot white private vinyl privacy fence.
I talked to them after a couple of citizens from Ives Landing had contacted me, and that's when they agreed to the 6-foot fence
okay.
rather than the berm with the
Right,
vegetative
right.
plantings.
Okay, so we got that. I think that pretty much covers it there for me. Some of these, as you certainly know better than I do, but some of these developers have to be held to the grindstone.
You do have to stay on top of some more than others.
Yeah. I mean, they could erect a used car lot right there and it wouldn't surprise me. Because they'd be good at it. All right. That's all I have, Wendy. Thank you.
Are there any other questions on the report? If not, the next thing is a request for council action. The current property owner of Phase 3 of Johnston Farms is requesting rezoning of approximately 151 acres, more or less, being parcel number 17K08026L and 17K08026 from ag to mixed use. The reason they're requesting mixed use is they would like to combine townhomes with the single-family homes. There will be no businesses in there. And we need a hearing called for July the 17th for that, please.
I make a motion, we call for a public hearing on the potential rezone of parcel number 17 K King 08026 L Lincoln and 17 K King 08026 from agriculture to mixed use. And that date is to be set for July the 17th at our council meeting on July the 17th, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion to rechange the ordinance from agriculture to mixed use. We have a second. Motion was made by Councilman McGowan and seconded by Councilman Brown. All in favor? All opposed?
Yeah,
It was to call the public hearing
Oh,
on that.
yeah, I'm
Right,
sorry,
not-
public,
not
a
to take
public
that action.
hearing.
yeah, and just
I'm
for the
sorry.
record, the motion was put out by Councilman Brown, seconded by McGowan.
Okay,
Just reverse, that's all.
okay. Yeah, we did.
The latest farmers market updates, the last one we had, we did cancel this past Saturday. But the one prior to that, we had live music and that seemed to pull a few people in. The people that were there were very excited about it. So we're hoping that's going to be a big ticket to pull people in off the road to stop in and see us. But we're still going through October, so continue to spread the word.
Are we still scheduling for next month now? The naming?
I think that's a closed session item that you're referencing. So
Okay, we'll drop it.
For the police department, Chief Williams says he's sorry he can't be here. You have our report, if you have any questions.
Have you moved everything around in the old town hall to suit your needs now?
So far, there's,
Any modifications you need that,
I think we're good right now.
are we? Okay, good.
Oh,
Feeding.
we need,
Not the
we need,
contract.
we need the contract for the school resource officer.
I can jump in on that if it's any help. I don't know if they're in your agenda items. I think they are. So last year you approved an agreement with the Johnson County School Board to staff an officer, school resource officer. And you had an agreement and a memorandum of understanding for that. And you have a renewed agreement for approval for this fiscal year. Before you, the term is 1 year. It's on the same terms. If you have any questions, just let me know. I did review it, as did Chief Williams.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I read the both of them. The 58,000, it says that the board going to pay us for that, for the officer. Is that for the officer's salary, benefits, uniforms, all the stuff? Or is that strictly salary?
That's strictly salary and yeah.
Okay,
Strictly
so
salary.
the officer's weapon and all of that other stuff comes out of your budget.
Yes.
Okay.
It's already come out, though. That SRO is already, we've hired that SRO, correct?
Yes,
So we've already purchased weapon and we've outfitted that officer. Is that,
yes, we have.
yeah, okay. Is that what you?
Mostly, my memory was that it was mostly the 58,000 covered, was mostly used up on salary and benefits. I can't recall if there was anything else. That was it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was my question, salary and benefits or other stuff in addition. Salary and benefits works well.
And this is the same that it was last year under with the county and us.
It is.
All right.
You need a motion on that, Counselor?
You do. It's
So-
already been approved by the school system, so.
So you need a motion from us to approve it? Okay, so I'll make a motion. We approve the contract for school resource officer services as stated in our packet.
We have a motion to approve the officer resource services by Councilman McGowan, seconded by Councilman Jernigan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And we have this one thing, School Resource Officer Program Memorandum of Understanding.
I have a question. Has he checked the radio getting out in this building? I know Dave had a question
Can-
about it.
Can I answer that question for you after just between you and I? It's something that shouldn't go out right away, so.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Is that okay?
All right.
Now, what
Right,
does
I'll-
this inquire, Mr.?
Right, so this is, it's really an exhibit. I don't know if it needs to be voted on separately, but since it's a separate item, let's just have a vote on it. But it's an exhibit to the service contract, and it's the memorandum of understanding that covers right, Kansas. and
So we don't
Roscoe.
we don't have to
Officer.
worry, we don't have to have a motion on this.
Since you have it on your agenda as a separate item, I recommend you just.
I make a
approve it.
motion, we approve the school resource officer program memorandum of understanding, exhibit A to contract for SRO services.
I have a motion to approve the School Resource Officer Program memorandum of understanding, and a second. The motion was made by Councilman McGowan, second by Councilman Jernigan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. All right, Public Works.
Council, you guys got any questions about my report?
Just want to say that that new building looks great for y'all over there. I mean, y'all are able to do a lot more stuff over with the equipment and stuff, can't you? Pretty beautiful. That was great. I was over there the other day and I know it looked really good.
And Patrick, I'd just like to say thank you to both of you guys for helping our lady get moved over there. I mean,
And Pete, I had to help Pete too.
and Pete, yeah. So anybody that helped, thank you for doing that, because that's most of us don't want to move, but it's a big undertaking, but thank y'all, everybody that done that. Thank
Yes, sir.
you for helping that. I know it's probably a work in progress still, but thank y'all for doing that.
Yes, sir.
And now we're down to the councilman's comments.
Stop laughing. If you recall, I brought something up a couple of meetings ago regarding food for children in Wilson's Mills, just to keep it real simple. I've had a meeting with Leanna and retired Judge Addie Rawls. And Addie Rawls turns out to be what an asset to this community in more ways than one. She's just a terrific lady, and she agreed with me, let's not reinvent the wheel. So she and I are working together, and then she found out just recently that the elementary school right here has a program where several times during the year, they have a food drive, and they service probably 25 to 30 cars, and they were having one that particular week. So Addie went through her resources over at the school where she is, the church school, and I went and filled up a couple of carts at the grocery store on my own, and we brought it over here, and it was a big success. The school folks here were just thrilled to have it. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up on the agenda is the fact that I asked Leanne about it. She thinks we might want to talk about it. I want to, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I want to work closely with the school because as I indicated a couple of months ago, I think the school counselors were going to have a better feel for the kids that are in need than anybody else. Turns out we were absolutely right. They were. So I'd like to work with the school and continue on working with Miss Young here at the school. And I wonder if it's possible to make this a line item for us as a way to contribute. Is it possible? And if it is, I mean, are we singling out above others a place to donate money to, or you see what I'm getting at, Ms. Sherry?
The town can just consider it as a donation. I've known other municipalities to do that within their fiscal year.
Okay,
And so they can just do it as a,
do it as we please. It doesn't have to be dedicated funds towards any particular food drive, correct?
right.
All right, I
That's
would,
not right, Count? Is that not correct?
My experience as well.
what's this council feel like? I mean, I felt wonderful that night when I knew that I could deliver, out of the back seat, fill up my back seat in the trunk of my car and deliver it, knowing that these kids are going to be eating that cereal that night. Or we gave them bread, and Addie Rawls asked me if I'd stop over at her school back where the school buses are. She said, I've got a whole stack of stuff over there. She says, go ahead and take it and leave the diapers. I need them for school. And she gave me a stack of crates of tomato sauce that came up to mid chest on me. And that just filled up my trunk, and it filled up more than that, and I know I bought a lot of pasta that day, and knowing a lot of kids are going to be eating spaghetti that night and go to bed with full bellies. So I'd like to make this something that we can do on an annual basis and not have to go and ask for money all the time. If we could put maybe $2,000 into a line item, that would. I want your input on this. That's my thought on it.
I would say, of course, I'm from the perspective that no child should be hungry, in this community. Can we reach every single person? Well, maybe not, but we ought to try.
Yes.
My only question is if we could pull, and there again, not reinvent the wheel, but if we could pull, if there's others that offer, the same type of service, and we could pull them in as well. If this church does and this church does, the school does it, if we can get on the same page and maybe reach more people. I don't know.
Addie and I talked about that with Leanna, and the consensus was churches, most of the 12, I think it's 12 churches here in Wilson's Mills, the majority of them have their own food program, but it's pretty much for the members of the church. It's not for others, and you have to go to the church to get it, and they don't give it out to others. They would if someone approached them and asked for food, I'm sure they would, but right off the bat, it's for members of the congregation. So it's kind of hard to get all those churches together, and you're talking 11 or 12 of them. They're all going to have their own input to it, and now you're going to have a really big problem. I have found that the school knows all the little kids that need food, but if we can make this a line item that we can contribute to the school and get what they need 3 or 4 times a year, and still have enough in reserve. So if Sergeant Peden out there and his soldiers run across a family that's desperately in need, we'll have something that we can do, pull money out of the account and go get a couple of cartloads of food for that house. See what I'm trying to get at? In other words, it's there, but the school is the one that's got the handle on the children that need the food, I found.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that would need to be in the budget, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, if we can make this a line item in the budget. And if so, if you all certainly agree, and what amount. Now, if you wish, we can table this till next month also and bring it up again when we have Ms. Dobbins here and have Leanna. What do y'all think?
But we'll be into our new budget next. Well, wouldn't we have to do it now to put it into our
But we've
budget?
we've
already
already, voted on next year's budget.
That's
so
what
it-
I'm saying.
Right.
But we can
You
make,
can do a budget amendment.
that's what I'm
Okay,
looking at.
all
We
right,
can do a
okay,
budget
that's what,
amendment for
that's
that.
what I'm
Is
on.
that okay with
Yeah,
everybody?
that's fine with me. I'm just making sure we
Okay,
do it the
good.
right way.
And that way, if, think on it,
Okay,
and if you have any other ideas to input, that'll be a good time to do it, and we'll seal this thing.
Okay.
I'd also like to mention to council that, Patrick is going to be, placing a blessings box at the new facility.
Oh, okay,
So that will be a resource as well.
good. That's perfect. That's perfect.
I would just like to say, a lot of times we talk about stuff that pertains to the town, but I can tell you, if we do this, what minute amount it would be, I mean, there's no doubt that this town would be blessed by blessing others. There's no doubt about that. So, so if we can do this, and I'm 100% for it.
Thank you. That's all I have.
anybody, any other councilman's got any comments?
What's the timeline on the town hall update? Anything is
On the town hall.
the new one? Yeah.
What, on
The new campus.
the new campus, what do you mean the timeline?
I mean, how's transition?
Well,
going?
transition is going well with it.
Retrofitting, do we know?
We got all computers and that's great. We can carry on with our work. The only issue right now that we have, but we, like you say, we're calling in at the old town hall and checking our voicemails and things of that nature on a daily basis, but is our phones. And so, but that equipment is supposed to be in hopefully by the end of this week. Not sure.
And as far as the security stuff, is it gonna be in when y'all get over there? What's the timeline on that?
I'm not sure about the security system since we just, voted tonight, to go with.
Yeah, I mean, any idea?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
What about signage out on Wilson Hills Road?
Leanna is currently working on that. And, we didn't get a lot of response. She didn't get a lot of response from her request for proposals. And so, I think she has decided on the design, and I think she will probably bring that to you next
Are we
month.
talking the two signs out front of the driveway or the ones that border on 70?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? At this time, I will open the second open forum at 8:09. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the podium, state your name, your address, and limit your talk to 3 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak? I will close the second forum at 8:10.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We got a motion to adjourn by Councilman McGowan, seconded by Councilman Jernigan. All in favor? See you all next month.